This video did not just stumble across your page because I'm going to teach you how to develop standards and boundaries.
I think it's important I start this off by saying not a lot of people know whether they have standards or boundaries. And even if they do, not a lot of people have learned how to actually enforce them. And sometimes you confuse one for the other, or you confuse the entire concept altogether. And sometimes both of them are actually non-existent for a person.
If you fall under a category of people who think they actually have standards and boundaries, you don't. What you have is preferences. You have complaints. You have wishes. Standards and boundaries, very different story entirely. So let's fix that. And of course, we're going to be talking about the main 3 points: standards, boundaries, and enforcement. And this is where everyone gets confused. Okay, so standards. Let's use a base example so you have a grasp of what this concept actually means.
Saying something like, I want someone who's loyal. That is not a standard. Everyone wants someone who's loyal. That's a given. It's a bare minimum. If you've ever proclaimed something that you want for yourself, that is not a standard, and I hope I'm making it clear. Stop confusing that. An example of a standard is, I do not date people who repeatedly lie to me. Do you see the difference? One is a wish. You want loyal people. We all do. We want things. One is measurable. You can actually see what it is that you don't want to have. That is a standard.
And if that still doesn't make sense, or you're struggling to even figure out what your standards are, I want you to ask yourself this simple question. What behavior do I absolutely refuse to build a life around? And the answer to that is your standard. Okay, another example. Let's say you're someone who values honesty, right? Your standard isn't, I like honest people. Again, it's a given. It's expected. Your standard would be, anyone who consistently or repeatedly lies to me would be disqualified from being close to me. That's your standard, right? Because that's actionable. It's something that's happening and you know what you don't want. Let's talk boundaries now. And this is where I feel like the internet or just subjective opinions get it wrong.
Which is crazy to say. My opinion right now is subjective.
But boundaries does not mean controlling someone. Boundaries mean controlling yourself.
The internet has this weird way of portraying boundaries to mean you tell your partner, don't do this, don't do that. You have to always be this and that. And that's not what boundaries are in any way at all. Let's use the famous example, right? When you say a boundary of yours is, I don't want you talking to other people. That's not a boundary. That's control, like I mentioned. You're not setting boundaries. You're trying to control another individual and what they do. But if you say something else like, if someone consistently disrespects our relationship, I'm leaving. You're telling your partner this. That is a boundary. Because see, a boundary isn't about changing or controlling a person. It's not even about them. It's about what you would do. Your boundary will always be revolved around you, not the other person.
Let's use another example. Let's say your family, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, anyone at all is being disrespectful and rude to you, right? And you tell them, stop talking to me like that. That is not a boundary. You're issuing a command. You're telling a person what to do. Rephrase this as a proper boundary. Okay, so if you keep talking to me that way, I'm going to leave this conversation and I won't speak to you anymore. That is a boundary. A very important distinction with boundaries when you start making them is that you do not control the other person's behavior. That is not in your control to do it all. The only thing you control is your behavior to their behavior, ironically enough. Boundaries are actionable things you do when other people are crossing a line and you have to do something about it. If nothing is done, it's not a boundary. All right, just a little quick side note. If so far you like what you're hearing, I'd love to hear that in the comment section. For me, comments will always be better than likes. I don't care what anyone says. I enjoy the conversation. I read them and I do try to respond to them. A really quick background on my intention for why I make the kind of videos I make. I want to create an impact on the world. In fact, I am creating an impact on the world. I think I've been blessed with perspective. And for me, if there's anything I want to do with this gift of mine is help people. And my audience now has grown to a very substantial amount. And when I was growing initially, that was easy for me to do. I could always respond to DMs for free. But now that this platform has completely exploded, I have created something and I want you to take a look at it. If you ever want to have a one-on-one with me, you just want to talk, you want to have a deep dive, get some clarity on how you feel, relationships, self-improvement, life, tech. You may not know, but I studied cybersecurity. I'm a nerd, okay? I'm a nerd. Click the link in the bio or the description of whatever you're watching this on. Sign up. Let's chat. Okay, so let's talk about enforcement. This is the big one. This is the important part. If you get through the standards, you get through the boundaries, and you understand all of that, this is the part you don't want to ever fail.
Because a standard without a boundary is weak. But a boundary without an enforcement is a suggestion. Because if you do nothing about your boundaries and all you do is set them, it is literally a suggestion, and you're telling the other person, you don't have to really take me seriously.
I don't want that for you. At all. Because if you keep telling a person, don't do that, I don't want you to do that, and they keep doing it, and you keep showing them that nothing's going to happen if they consistently do this thing, you're teaching them that it's okay. It's okay to disrespect you. It's okay to let this thing happen. It's okay because you're not going to do anything about it. You're teaching people your boundaries aren't real. And I get how that sounds harsh, but it's the reality. If you're not doing anything, if there is no consequence to the things you proclaim or express, you are giving people a free pass to just disrespect you. Because see, people learn what you tolerate, not what you say. If you tolerate the constant disrespect, that will register in their head. That is what they will see. That is law for them. But if you don't do anything to back up the things you say, they have no actual real reason to take you seriously. Heck, you don't even take yourself seriously.
Let's use a really good example here. You're in a friend group, right? And you're talking to friends, and there's this one specific friend or a group of them who consistently make fun of you, right? And you tell them, hey, stop that. But everyone keeps laughing at you, right? You say that and they do it over again. And everyone keeps laughing. Hey, stop that. They do it over again. If you constantly let this pattern be something that happens, and I've seen this happen so many times, they will continue. And that's why they are continuing. So you need to shut that down. You need to be able to say, stop. Clearly, I don't want this. And if you do this, I will not be a part of this circle. I will not be a part of this environment. Because if you keep letting it happen, congratulations. You have now let people know your boundaries are not real.
Okay, let's run it back one more time. You need to identify the behaviors you refuse to build your life around. That is your standard. Keep it in mind. The things you won't tolerate, that's your standard. Decide what you do if it continues. If you express something you don't like and the person consistently keeps doing that and you do nothing about it, you're letting that boundary slide. Do something about it. That is your boundary. And lastly, to enforce something, you have to follow through on it. I know it's hard. I know it sucks. I know confrontation might not be the easiest thing, but that is your self-respect on the line. If something is going wrong, you make it known to yourself that this is a standard of yours. If something is being crossed, that is your boundary. And no matter what happens, you have to speak up for yourself. You have to stand firm. That is the enforcement. Because see, guys, standards decides who gets access to you. Boundaries decide how that access you give is maintained. And enforcement decides whether people believe you or take you seriously. I hope you've learned something new today, and I hope I see you again. As always, I'm Cam, and I'll see you in the next one. You didn't see this video on accident, because I'm about to teach you how